What's going on? Alright, so this is how you use parametrics to edit the radius gauge. So first thing you want to do is you want to open your project. Well, if you don't have the project, you might have a file on the computer, right? So we're going to go to that. Or open our file. And you see here, I have mine set up for SolidWorks Orbit, but let's just go ahead and view it isometrically from the front. And then let's see from the front, right? We've got a radius gauge. And so you just come over here, modify, change parameters, and if you change the user parameter here 10, let me just go to extreme, let's go to like 1 millimeter, right? And then you'll text to open up, it'll edit later. Oh, I do have this plugin, Parametric Text. So I suggest you download and install this plugin, Parametric Text, first. That way the text will update as well. And you shouldn't have to configure it. If you do, I can release a future instructional then. But that first parameter there, radius, is the radius to be measured. So I set it to 1 millimeter, and it could go up to like 14.5. So we'll go there. And this is about the biggest radius this gauge can fit, and it starts to clip the text. If we go to 15, we're going to get an issue. But that doesn't mean we can't measure radius over 15 millimeters. But what we'd have to do here is you'd have to increase the gauge size. So this is the distance from this line to this line. So let's go to and change this to 40. We should get a generated gauge. Okay. So that's what our 15 millimeter radius gauge. So we just step that up to 40 or so, and then you probably bring this to like, I don't know, 20 or so. Yeah, it looks like 20 is going to break it, but let's try 18. 18 works. I'm sure we could sit there and deduce where it stops working. But that's how you would modify your parameters. They come over here, and the thickness is, if you look at it at the oblique, the literal depth of the gauge here, like how thick it is on your plate. So that's how you modify the parameters here, and that's what makes this fully parametric. You can adjust the width of the gauge and the radius and the thickness all from these three settings right here. And let's just go back and have a look at this thing from the front. This is 18 millimeter radius. This is going to be a 180 degree interior arc of 18 degree radius. This will be a 90 degree arc, 18 millimeter radius. This will change the radius. This will change the radius. This is always bumped out. There's a little bit of tangent straight here. It's going to be 1/5 the radius. So I didn't break this out. We could break this out too and break out all the other dimensions so that they are all parametric as well. But for the most part, I have the whole gauge scale with the parameters you set, except the overall shank and length and stuff like that. That way, if you put them all in a rack, they look good and nice and even distribution.